Hello, everyone. This is Derek from Sports Info. You hear me okay?
Yep.
Sounds like somebody's got a little bit of background noise on their line, so if you're not asking a question, I'd ask you to please mute your phone. I'm not sure if somebody's at an airport or where, but it is a little loud.
Is it better now?
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yep.
I'm going to hand it over to Coach here to make some opening comments, and then we'll take your questions on Ohio State.
Okay. Hey, the biggest thing we wanted to do, obviously, when we got back was, kind of take a look at the other night for what it was. Obviously, guys, we were disappointed. We didn't finish the way we wanted to finish, in particular with our defense. I think that's been too much of a common theme for us defensively. We've got to be better in the last 8 minutes of the game than what we've been throughout the season, and that's something we've talked about as a group. So that was really, I think, what stood out. I do think that now back-to-back games, for probably about 25 to 30 minutes of those games, we played the best that we've played all year at both ends at the same time. So I thought that was encouraging. Guys had good body language, good spirit, attitude. I thought our practice was really good today. I thought it was terrific yesterday. As we head into Ohio State, obviously, we're playing a good basketball team. They've got the kid Russell's a terrific scorer, first-year player, leads the nation in freshman scoring points per game. I really have watched Scott kind of grow and develop as we've coached against him, and he's done such a great job of making his team better. I think Williams has really improved, seems to be even more physical, and has become even more and more efficient down on the low block or in the paint. I think the kid Cam Williams benefited from his redshirt year, it appears to me. I mean, he's shooting a ridiculous percentage from both 2 and 3 and really gives them a guy who gives them a power punch off the bench when it comes to scoring, as he's averaging nearly 10 points per game, playing about 18 to 19 minutes a night. Loving has made the same type of improvement that Hill has. He's really jumped up his game offensively, not only in the points per game column, but in the efficiency aspect. You watch Sam Thompson, I think he's become an even better shooter and obviously continues to make very, very athletic plays for them. I love the kid Tate's toughness. Bates Diop is coming on. Trey McDonald and Lee seem to know their role well. So, obviously it's going to be a great challenge. It's a little different with the zone than maybe what we've seen from in the past from them, but we've had the opportunity with our non-conference slate to play against a lot of that. So I'm hoping our guys certainly feel comfortable, regardless of what defense they choose to play. So we're looking forward to the challenge and getting back out there. I think sometimes when you have a disappointing one, I think the guys, one of the things about our league is you usually play most of the time, and about 2 to 3 days later, another one's coming at you. And I think they're looking forward to getting back out on the court. Questions?
Well, Coach, I'll
JJ.
start it off. This is Lauren.
Okay.
When you reach that point, let's say the 8-minute point in the game, do you dare to emphasize that? I mean, might that tighten everybody up? I mean, you have to talk about it, I know, but how do you approach it from a coaching standpoint?
Well, we got to guard better. Our guys know that. I mean, there's no dodging it. I mean, they were at 2 points per possession the last 8 minutes of the game the other day, and we've got to be better than that. That's happened in one other situation as well, and we got to be better. Got to trust each other more. Got to play our defense. And then, part of it is you got to step up and make some plays on the other end as well. And I'll give those guys credit from Michigan. I thought the one kid, who had made, shot 11 threes all year, makes 6 out of 7. I certainly don't want to say he could never do that again. That would be unfair. Will he go 6 out of 7 again in a game this year? I don't know. You guys can figure the odds on that, but it happened. It's a one-game deal. I always tell the guys that. This is not the NBA playoffs. So several of those I thought that they made late after they got feeling good were very difficult and very challenged, and, give their kids credit for making them. But, we don't have any excuses. We've got to find a way to defend better than what we did the other day in the last 8 minutes of the game.
Hey, John, it's Jeremy. Can you talk about, the last year, obviously you guys went through some issues, but you had such a young team. How much better prepared are they to kind of put a bad game behind them, like Malcolm, Kendrick, Jalen, and those guys?
Well, I want to be very careful. I mean, a lot of you guys like to call it a bad game. I'm not going to go there. I mean, I didn't think we defended great the last 8 minutes, but for about 29 minutes to the under 12, that's maybe the best we played all year. And I'm very, that's the thing. I try to be very straight with our guys. I show them clear. We did some really, really good things. So, I think sometimes people fall for that deal of, hey, they got beat, so they played bad. I mean, I think, I don't know if that's certainly not what we do. We evaluate it based on our standards and are we hitting those things or not. And I thought for the bulk of the game we did some really good things and played really well in a really good environment. That place was jumping. I mean, I thought it was good. I thought our guys, really, really came out, showed a lot of poise, and did a good job. But, do I think we're better able to handle, disappointment? Sure. I mean, you got 11 guys returning that've been through a lot. They've seen the good side and the tough side of college basketball. We're a little bit older. And I expect that from them. Our Navy SEAL guy tells those guys when he gets here every summer and fall, your previous experience helps prepare you for the next. So I think for us to say that we're not more prepared to handle, a disappointing loss, we should be better at that. And because we're older and we've been through some things. So, my answer to that, Jeremy, is I think this team would be certainly more prepared than last year's team.
John, this is Mark. What's your take on how Kendrick is playing right now?
I think that he is. The other day he didn't play real well, and he knows that. I mean, it's certainly up to his standards, and he'll play better, and he has played better. It's kind of one of those games. Guys have some of those games. It just is what it is. And, I think he'll play better. I know he'll play better. And I think Nana will tell you he'd like to play better than he played the other day, and he certainly has and will. And, there's other guys as well. So, but I think all in all, through the bulk of 14 games, I think offensively he's been very good. I think defensively, here lately especially, I think he's been better. And I think he's headed in the right direction there, and he's, a little bit more focused on that end, helping us defend and, take care of those different assignments that he has on that end of the floor. And, when he does that, I think he becomes even more of a complete player, and he's certainly shown that he can do it. We just need him to do it more consistently.
Thank you.
Hey, John, it's Jeremy again. How would you evaluate kind of your point guard play to this point?
I thought it was pretty good the other day. Obviously based on we're fortunate we got two of them. I thought Tate had a real good pulse the other day, so I ended up going with him late. I did the same thing with Starks in some other games as well. Baylor comes to mind, or Mizzou comes to mind. So it's kind of a field thing. We have the luxury of having both of those guys. They're both important to what we do, and kind of give us a two-headed approach at the point guard position. I think those guys have done a good job of taking care of the ball. I think they've defended well. I think they've continued to be more physical and help us with rebounding. And, I think, Starks would tell you probably like to be a little bit more efficient on offense, but I think he will, certainly as he continues to get more and more comfortable. And obviously he's had some, big games for us, scoring in bunches throughout the course of a couple games that, whether it's Baylor or whether it's Missouri, those were two pretty big wins for us. And, certainly we wouldn't have been able to get those done without him going on a couple of those sprees. So, I think both guys at the end of the day are very valuable and bring different elements to what we're doing that are important.
Thanks.
Hey, John, it's JJ. When you have older guys like Nana and Ray that bring what they bring to the table on a regular basis, but then you have a younger guy like Hill, what does it mean to have that kind of younger leadership presence on the team?
Well, obviously Hill's, he's getting better. I think a lot like Tup's question about Nunn, obviously the other night Hill was terrific offensively, and we've continued to work with him to get him more consistent on the other end, and I think he's listened and he's doing better there. Obviously he and Kendrick are a little bit different. They're not your typical sophomore because they played in every game as a freshman. Obviously they started the last, whatever it was, 12 plus. Both guys were playing, just shy of 30 minutes a game the last half of last season. So those guys are older than a typical sophomore from an experience standpoint. So, I don't consider those guys kind of in my mind like a typical sophomore. I expect them to perform like upperclassmen should. And, I do think it's valuable that all 11 of our guys, that return, bring that element of experience to the table really for the first time in the 3 years that we've had that. So I think that's good, and I think Malcolm certainly helps with that.
Anything else for Coach?
Hey, John, it's Steve. Happy New Year. How are you seeing the Big Ten right now? I don't know what you've observed, how many teams you've been able to watch play by now, but just what are you seeing? And do you feel like Illinois maybe has something in common with a lot of the teams in the league, just kind of searching for its groove at this point?
Yeah, I don't know. I see the scores. I've not dissected those teams like that until we play them. So, I really see it through, kind of through our eyes or the eyes of the opponent that we're preparing to play for next. I've not seen enough of those other teams, to be honest with you. I don't know, other than Michigan and Ohio State, if I've watched another Big Ten team play a game from start to finish. In fact, I know I haven't. I have not. So for me to comment on those teams, it's just, I don't know them well enough at this point.
Hi, Coach. This is Kendrick on the phone. Could you tell me real quick, explain to us a little bit about the shot that Ray took? A lot of people sometimes kind of question it and the character that it takes to take the shot like that at the end of a game.
Repeat the question. I'm sorry.
At the end of the game, the Missouri game, Ray was the hero. He made the shot. In the Michigan game, he missed a tough shot in overtime, to avoid overtime. Can you explain to us the kind of character it takes for Ray to even want to take the shot and, and what it's like for him, when the shot goes in and when it doesn't? Yeah,
well, what I think is in that situation, you got to be fearless. You got to understand, I can't remember Jordan's exact quote, but I think it's something along the lines of he missed more of them than he made. Obviously he made the Missouri shot. It was a big-time shot, a big-time read on the switch. The other day, he'd probably like to have that one over because he could have read that one a little bit better. But when you're in that situation and you're making a play like that, you've got to be fearless, and you've got to understand that you've got to accept hero, goat, hero, goat, just the way it works. It's the way sports is. And I think the guys in those situations that, like Ray, that have that clutch deal, they got to be prepared for that. It is what it is. Obviously everybody can slow down the film and show pictures of the shot after it's over. They don't allow you to do that when the game's played at full speed. So it is what it is. I think Ray's tough enough to be able to handle both of those things. And it's especially now after 3 years, I think he's really grown. And I have no problem. We put the ball in his hands to make a play, and he got one blocked, and Levert made a good play on the screen, and if we had to do it over, he'd probably tell you to pass it back to the top. But there aren't any do-overs, And Ray was also the same guy who buried the one and got buried in a pile of people in half court. So it's just that's life and that's sports.
All righty. Thanks, everyone. We'll see those of you who are traveling tomorrow in Ohio.
Thanks, guys. Happy holidays.
You too.
Thank you.